I'd like to call the Tuesday, June 7th, Board of Public Works and Safety meeting to order. It is 9 a.m. on the nose, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Lisa Pierzakowski, lead us, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Public comment. I do have one. Lisa Pierzakowski, come up. Please state your name and address for the record. Welcome.
Lisa Pierzakowski, 1108 West State Road 2 is my office. 3511 West Johnson Road is my home. Good morning, city officials. I'm Lisa Pierzakowski, one of those elected officials here in LaPorte. I represent the residents of Center Township in the city of LaPorte and the rural area. I've been in my position going on 8 years now. I take my elected position seriously, and I do not work a 9-to-5 job. This is my job, and it is 24/7. My phone is 24/7, and I take calls 24/7, as most of you here know, including the county, police, and elected officials that call with an emergency. For 8 years, I've been trying to get an office with showers, washers, dryers, and day room so that I could work with the less fortunate. Let's just say it's been a challenge. But it has finally happened, and we are at our new home on State Road 2. It's so nice to have our less fortunate be able to come in and get new clothing, including socks and underwear, take a hot shower, wash their clothing, sit and eat a hot bowl of soup or a muffin while enjoying the company of one of our caseworkers. I work hand in hand with other agencies in our office. We have three other agencies that are now currently in our office, and also outside of our office. I work closely with the homeless coming into our city and county and those that need to get back to their homes. A lot of those clients come from the jail once they've been released and not sure how to get back home. Some come with just socks on their feet during the cold months or just the clothes in their back with no coats. What I'm trying to get in my point is that, yes, I am just an elected official, but never would I put any one of our residents in jeopardy, not here in the city and not out in the rural county. My fire department works mutually with Springfield Volunteer Fire Department, and we have 15 guys in our departments. Mine actually has more, including a young man in fire school soon. We currently have guys that come in for shifts, not every day, but we are working on that budget. Springfield is working on the same, and Cool Spring last year asked for our policy as they want to implement the same for their departments. We eventually will become a department with men ready to roll each day as our building will be manned full-time. Let's talk about 39 North. I am the trustee. 39 North is its own entity. Myself, along with Chief Snyder and Water Department Jim Warner, just recently went before the BZA to ask them not to put a 100-plus bed senior center until the water issue is taken care of due to issues. But my issues are not that our residents are not currently safe, because they are. Please do not scare them with your words and annexation speeches. We have tankers. Springfield has tankers. Cool Spring has tankers. Kankakee has tankers. You're talking about how we cannot use the hydrants. We are aware that if we have a fire, we must contact the city and they fix the flows so that we can use them. But we also tank as much water in as we can from other areas so that we don't shut the water down at Portofino's again or run out of water. Just like the house fire in Johnson Road, where we started to have all the area departments tank the water from other sources to not run the water tower out. So you talk about safety. You have stated in 2025 that you will shut the water off if 39 North doesn't fix the issues and build the water tower. How is that safe for residents? We, as volunteers, can tanker the water in. Does the city have tankers? No, they do not. But as Chief Snyder said at the BZA meeting, that we have mutual aid with each other. That is what we do as a community. We work together to keep all the residents safe. So let me get back to the Board of Works meeting on 5/17, when you say certain elected officials are putting lives at risk to save their elected positions. I have asked the mayor for a meeting to talk about the annexation so that we are all on the same page. I have asked to be invited to the meetings and have not. He told me that he will meet with me once he has met with all the business owners, yet he invites President Randy Novak of the County Council to the meetings. How can you say I am against or other elected officials are against if we are not invited to the table to discuss. If annexation is what is best and the community supports it, I will support it. But the truth will be told and not stories and threats to get it passed. I'm getting calls from many with questions, and one of them is that their taxes will be less. I tell them what I pay for taxes living in the county and then a home in the city about the same size and what they pay. Their reply is, that's not cheaper. As for insurance, I'm still speaking with agents, as I know the lower the number, the better the rate. But if it is city fire and you can't use the hydrants and they do not have tankers, how is that going to be cheaper and safer? So can we please all work together? All be called to the table to talk and not just some. Can we be truthful and honest about why we want the annexation? I just want what is best for the residents of Center Township. So again, I'm just an elected official, but don't ever say that I put lives of residents in jeopardy to save my job, because right now, I can go back to driving school bus and make more than I am now, or even work at Walmart. But my residents come first, and I will continue to represent them and what they want, as they are my bosses. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for your service with the homeless. Also, thank you to Jeff Batchelor, who's worked many times with the Center Township Board to make sure these people have options. And just for public record, I can't control somebody's ego to think I'm talking about them. So apparently, Ms. Pierzakowski believes I'm talking about her, but I can't control that. So people have to decide for themselves who people are talking about. And again, 8 years, nothing's been going on with the infrastructure, with the issues, and they've been ignored. Now suddenly, everybody cares about the residents because we care about the residents. So please, let's state the truth, let's state the facts, let's not try to protect current situations, and let's make sure we address the real problems. And if you don't believe from me, Mr. Werner, Mr. Snyder, do you want to address the situation? Because we've addressed the property taxes. An independent firm has run the numbers on what people pay now versus what people pay for the caps. So do you want to address just briefly each of you so we have clarity on the problem and know options for solutions to keep people safe?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So 39 North, the way the infrastructure is ran out there, it's a tree system, not a loop system. So basically that water comes from one direction and one direction only. The limitations of the booster station itself and the supply that we can supply to it is 1,500 gallons a minute. That number, it is what it is. The pump won't put out any more than that, and the piping won't handle it. The hydrants closer to the booster station can throw out about 1,000 gallons a minute. Once you get down closer to Hampton Inn with the C factor, which is the friction loss inside pipe, comes down to about high 8s, low 900 gallons a minute. Do the math. That's one hydrant. That's all you can open up out there. There's no other source of water. It comes from the booster station, which has a single supply line from the city. I know Lisa said that call the city so we can put more pumps on. There is no more pumps to turn on inside that station. The number 4 pump is the fire pump, and it's rated at 1,500 gallons a minute. I'll be more than willing to show anybody that doubts that fact to come in and look at the stamps right on the pump.
And you've shown 39 North's engineering firm, you've shown everybody's in an open meeting to address this, and have you heard anything back from them?
No, I have not.
Andy, anything from your side?
Again, yeah, it's not getting into personnel, it's a logistical thing. That's as simple as it gets. I mean, the volunteer, she mentions volunteers, I fully and wholeheartedly respect volunteers. I was a volunteer before I started. So I've been in both worlds, career and volunteer, and it's completely different. She's true, it's correct, we do not have tankers. But the whole point of that system out there is so you don't need tankers. If you're sold a bill that you have a hydrated system with hydrants, then you shouldn't need tankers. If it works correctly, that's why the city does not have tankers in the city, because we are fully 100% hydrants across the city. We don't expect to need tankers for that. Nor would we, even in the case of a large fire inside the city, expect to have volunteer departments, who she mentions our mutual aid agreement with. Would we expect them to bring in tankers with a fill system of a tank, a portable tank? Again, I've lived in both those worlds. You deal with what you have with the tanker system and with the shuttle system. A turnaround for a tanker, maybe 10 minutes to get you 2,000 gallons of water. We're hoping to get 2,000 to 3,000 gallons of water a minute out of just a hydrant. So you do the math, again, Tim talks about the math. Talk about the math there. 2,000 gallons turnaround of a 10-minute turnaround system, 200 gallons a minute. You're not saving anything in 200 gallons a minute. And that's where we're at with Lives Matter. Again, yes, we work with the volunteers. I hope they move forward with that. Talk of annexation, everything else. Again, I'm not going to get into that one is better than the other. It's just simple logistics that we get there quicker and we can do a lot more with the time frame of a shorter time frame. Fire duplicates in size every 30 seconds. In that case, just that 15-minute, 10 to 15-minute response time from a volunteer department, not having the water then on top of it, you do the math again, like Tim said. Whereas we're anywhere in the city in 3 minutes and we have ample water supply. That's what we're looking to
Can you
get.
guarantee water suppression, enough water suppression to put a house that's on fire at Briarleaf?
With the current system? Absolutely not, no.
So I don't.
Tim gave you the numbers right there. Right at the beginning of the system, you're talking at 1,000 gallons a minute. NFPA calls for 1,000 gallons minimum for a residential fire just to get started. And that's only at the beginning of the system. Now let's talk about by the time you get out to Briarleaf. And again, dealing with Center Township, they know it. And Lisa mentioned it right there. To work to not shut down the system at Portofino's or at Hampton Inn, because that's happened more than once. So again, it goes back to the system was supposed to and is under the impression that you have enough water to supply out there. You shouldn't need tankers. You should be given the bill that you were sold, and they're not getting that.
And Lisa, this is because we're all in this together. Why would we oppose the Ed Arnold development if there's enough water?
No, I'm not saying there is a water issue, and Tim, I'm going to differ.
Please come to the mic.
Because we have been told that if we're going to use the hydrants, my fire department, I'll bring letters in, that we've been told that we must contact you if we're going to use the hydrants. So
Yeah,
how can you sit there and say we're not supposed to?
No, I did not say that. I think
Okay.
you should go back and look at it. I said, yeah, you're supposed to contact it, but you said that so we can turn more pumps on or
That's
supply.
what we were
Hold on,
told
Lisa.
something on
Let
McClung
Lisa,
Road.
let Tim respond.
There's no more water that we can supply to you at that point because of the choke point of the booster station. Now, if it was a city fire and a large city fire where with our system being looped and they had multiple trucks hooked up to multiple hydrants inside the city limits, yes, then we can turn on more pumps from our 2 filtration plants that are inside the city limits to supply that water to the loop system that runs the city of LaPorte. But 39 North isn't a loop system, it's a tree system, so there's one pipe coming in there. You can only push so much water through one pipe, and you can only push so much water through a pump that's rated at 1,500 gallons a minute.
So why is it we need to contact you then? If
So we
were
can
to
monitor
use-
the situation,
Okay. So you can monitor it and do what?
let you know if the system's about to go dry.
Okay.
Because we have to protect the city residents. They're the ones who pay for the
Right.
water and
But-
the infrastructure inside the city.
And-
So when you guys exceed that limit, it scores the piping down Pine Lake Ave and in the surrounding areas, and then the city residents and city businesses pay that price, not 39 North.
And I understand that because they had, the city before Tim, they had us come out and they took us out to McClung Road, not me, took my department to McClung Road and explained everything. And what my department told me was that we needed to contact the city so that they could do something on McClung Road. So I need to go back and talk with my department and ask them what that was
Well, that
about.
wasn't before me. I was the one that met with your employees out there or the fire
Again, we're
department.
the only ones offering to pay for $11.5 million worth of infrastructure through several areas, and we cannot do that for non-residents. So in exchange for that, people have to, I know there's this comment that elected officials are using, oh, we just want to annex, we just want to annex. No, we just want to solve a problem that everyone else is ignoring that is a problem. And you've talked to engineering firms for 39 North, you've talked to, this isn't just today, this has been going on for some time, so I don't understand what the big protection is against annexation in exchange to making sure homeowners have appropriate amount of water to fight a fire. That's what I'm trying to understand.
And like you said, Hampton Inn, I know that sometimes on the third floor, they don't have water. So we all know there's a water issue. I've been pushing the water issue for a long time. We've had some of the business owners. I just had a business owner call me last week and asked, is 39 North starting to look at it? And I'm being told 39 North is starting to look at the water tower issue. I hope they do.
But it's
because
not
that
just
was
a
their
water
agreement.
tower that solves it.
Right, you got to work on I understand that.
So I don't know what the opposition is.
I didn't say I was opposition. I asked for a meeting to sit down so we could all figure this out.
Mayor, and I think it's clear that the public knows that, in 2021, the District 39 North hired a new engineering company that we have met with several times, understand the issues, and went to 39 North, explained those issues to them, and realized that we were correct. And then in January, the district fired that engineer company and went back with an old engineer they had that created a lot of the problems they're dealing with now.
And the other part is, no one said, as I've told you, if the residents aren't interested in this proposal, it doesn't matter to meet with you, the county, anybody. So we're meeting with the residents, that's who's number one. When you moved to a new facility, you didn't want to share with Jeff, you didn't want to share with me, we respect that. So what we're saying is now, give us the same respect, we're meeting with residents to see if there's even an interest. And then we'll meet with the appropriate teams, but if the residents aren't interested in this option, it's dead and we'll take our water and go home.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And if anybody wants to contact me at the Water Department, 326-9540, I'd be more than happy to share the math and explain to them the restrictions and limitations of the system.
And Andy, if someone wants to reach you,
Yeah, 219-362-8417.
perfect, thank you. Are there any other public comments via social media? This is the only comment card I have, and thank you, Lisa, for coming.
No comments.
Clerk Treasurer, claims approval.
Okay, we have payroll from 5/27/2022 in the amount of $436,833.73.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I move we approve the payroll.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 3-0.
We have civil city claims for $989,108.19.
I move we approve the civil city claims.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 3-0.
Sewage claims, sewage claims in the amount of $355,173.74.
I move we approve the sewage claims.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion passes 3-0.
And finally, we have water claims for $92,586.14.
I move we approve the water claims.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 3-0. Thank you, Clerk Treasurer Parthune. So before we go to department heads, we do have a swearing in today that we're excited about.
You're getting a little ahead of yourself. I have to do the resignation first.
Okay.
Seek permission to hire.
So do you want to do that now?
That's,
Let's do so. We've got our new officer here, Chief Breton.
Well, I guess we'll jump to the letter of resignation then from Officer
Yes.
Tyler Knotts, whose last day was June 3rd. He presented this right after the last Board of Works. Tyler, if you remember, came to us from Gary. He got the opportunity to go to Highland, and he says he's working with the well-to-do people. I don't know that much about Highland, but that's where he went. He starts there. So I guess I'm asking for permission for you to accept the resignation and permission to hire, and then we'll move on. We have somebody to step into his spot that is academy trained.
I'll make a motion to approve the resignation and for a new hire.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. We'd like to thank Tyler Knotts for his service and wish him well in Highland. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
And then I ask for permission to hire for Tyler Knott's position.
I think I did that in the motion. I accepted the resignation and made a motion for hire. So I think we're good, right?
Okay, so I guess we'll
Okay.
swear.
And you move quick. Do you have any candidates in mind?
I do have one. You want to come on up? I'll have you say a little bit about yourself afterward, but Brett Fisher, I'll just give a little background on him. He went to academy with one of our officers, Taylor Atkinson. I talked to him at graduation. We were waiting for an opening to come open. Tyler Knotts had told me he was leaving back in January. We sent Brett through everything. He was ready to go, and then we waited, and we waited, and we waited, and I called him last week. He currently works in the jail, no road experience, correct? Correct. So we'll run him through the 14 weeks FTO, and then he'll be out on his own. So you just raise your right hand. I, Brett Fisher,
I, Brett Fisher,
do solemnly swear.
do solemnly swear
That I will,
that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
preserve,
preserve,
protect, and defend
protect, and defend
the laws and Constitution
the laws and Constitution
of the state of Indiana.
of the state of Indiana,
And I will,
and I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
faithfully execute
faithfully execute
the position of police
the
officer
position of police officer
for the city of LaPorte,
for the city of LaPorte,
Indiana, so help me God.
Indiana, so help me God.
Congratulations. Tell a little bit about yourself that I didn't
To the
already-
public.
Here's your.
Name's Brett Fisher. I served proudly in the U.S. Army and went to Iraq. I've been in the jail for 6 years. I have a college degree in law enforcement, and I've volunteered for many nonprofits and done a few mission trips with them, and I'm glad to be here today with LaPorte City.
I do a photo. You guys too, absolutely. You want to bring the officers in?
Jess just bumping out of
Bert Jessup. Congratulations.
Courtney's trying to.
Oh, yeah. Put the other side.
Come on in, Jess.
All guys in back.
So, Rob.
Hearing someone across the phone.
Need a wider angle?
Gonna do a boomerang.
All right, I'll have you look at this one. Sorry, just give me one more second. All right, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Congratulations.
Matt came in yesterday.
The best news you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting.
We see it in the lab.
This agenda's getting longer and longer.
We've been lucky. Well, no, my husband.
Oh, okay.
But I moved out.
Thank you.
Did you really?
Yeah, because it was right when.
That's not a bad idea.
Well, I didn't want it, and my son was about eligible to be vaccinated, and so my sister has a condo. Summer. So it was, hi, Cole's like. Call me if you need. Yeah, Cole's like, he did the whole ceiling in our basement. Now we have to go.
Well, since we're so excited to hire a candidate that does not have to go to academy, let's allow Chief Breton, if we can, one more item, and he will be done for the day.
Thanks to the Healthcare Foundation, I put in for a grant earlier this year. I think you have it in front of you for electric UTV. Jumping on that electric bandwagon, we were lucky enough to find one for just under $14,000. We have a $2,500 match on that. And I was notified late last week that we got accepted in that grant. We'll use that for, hopefully, well, Bill left, I've got him, he's planning on wiring this up, we're gonna decal it up and use it for Lake Fest, those events downtown, 4th of July parade. And once again, it's 100% electric, run up to 50 miles on a single charge. It's a two-seater. So I guess I'm just asking for us to accept this grant.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second discussion, and your portion of the funds will come out of,
Oh, we got somewhere, I don't know. We've talked to Courtney about
It's a
that.
part of their budget.
Yeah, it's part of the budget. We got basically our decals, the wiring for the lights, things like that.
And you guys usually do all that stuff by yourself
Yeah.
anyway, so it's just.
Bill gets excited about that stuff, and he's already measuring up where he's gonna put lights and.
between the e-bikes, this, you're gonna be able to get in the parks as well, and.
Right.
So that's a good
We
move.
figure with the downtown events, we're gonna use that. We're not gonna have gasoline vehicles out there also. Fortunately, it does have a seat. If somebody gets out of hand, we can drive them right to the jail in this.
And thank you to the Healthcare Foundation for their support of public safety.
It's huge, and I like the idea of no fossil fuel. We can drive it in and plug it in, and I had, actually, we're getting it through LaPorte Chrysler, and he let us take it already to figure out where we put lights on it and everything, and Bill drove it down, I shouldn't say this, but he drove it down Pine Lake Avenue. It goes along pretty good. But it has turn signals, lights, we can plate it if we want.
Further discussion?
Do we have a motion?
I think you do,
Okay.
yes.
Yes.
The mayor will be the one to sign these grants, right?
Correct.
Healthcare Foundation grants. So that just needs to be part of the motion, please. And if we could just say, well, we'll just do it.
Say it.
No, I was gonna say, you'll be the signer for all Healthcare Foundation grants.
Correct. The Healthcare Foundation requires the mayor to sign off on all these grants, so could we
sense.
amend that motion to that the mayor will sign?
I'll amend the motion.
Second.
So I do have an amended motion and a second. Further discussion?
Did we pay anything towards it, or they covered the entire cost?
We'll pay
Because I see the
up to
25.
$2,500.
Okay, the cash on delivery. Okay, thanks.
Further discussion?
Thank you to the Healthcare Foundation.
Fantastic, amazing community partner. All those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Thank you, Chief. All right, let's move to department heads, and I think I see Andrea Smith in the back.
Good morning, board members. Andrea Smith, Director of Human Resources. I have a few items under new business, which I will talk about later. The only thing I want to mention is we have a job fair today to be held at the Civic Auditorium from 3 to 6 p.m. Any department heads, if you are in need of employees, please email me. I only had one response received. So if you guys are short on employees, now's the time, because I will be at the job fair this afternoon. And other items I will talk about under new business. So I'll see you in a few minutes.
Brett Benversi, Park Department.
Civic or Park?
Park. He will be substituting for Mr. Schreiber.
Mr. Schreiber does all the talking normally, so I would just say Schneider's currently at the LaPorte Civic Auditorium during a walkthrough, evaluating our electric needs for our HVAC upgrades that we're hoping to have next year. And later on the agenda, we'll be discussing an amendment to the roof contract with Schneider and Corellis regarding roof cutouts for our roof replacement and the HVAC upgrades for next year, hopefully as well.
Thank you, Brett.
Thank you.
Jess Bruder, Communications.
Good morning. Beth West isn't here today, so I just wanted to mention that transport's going to be running a free Saturday this weekend from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Residents can get a free ride to the Farmers Market, the Small Business Coalition's second Saturday event at Plaza 618, or any of our lakes or parks for completely free. That gets them there. That doesn't necessarily include the ride home, but we're just trying to encourage people to go out and enjoy what we have to do this weekend. You can call to schedule a ride at 219-362-6565. Also, I wanted to mention I'm working with HR Director Andrea Smith on an employee digital cookbook. So if you missed it, it was in the employee newsletter this weekend. You can submit. We said healthy recipes, but I think we'll bend the rules a little bit if you have a really good one.
Only if it's really good.
Only if it's really good, though. So that was in the employee newsletter. So you can submit that there. That's all I have.
Thank you. Bert Cook, LEAP.
Center one for chorizo tacos.
Good morning to the Board of Public Works. Bert Cook, Executive Director of the LaPorte Economic Advancement Partnership. It was mentioned earlier, but we do have a hiring event going on this afternoon, 3 to 6 at the Civic. We have 45 companies that have signed up and will be there today. Wow. So for the public, anyone who is actively looking for a new career, that would be the place to go. We're excited. I think there'll be a really good turnout this afternoon, and want to congratulate Eric Nelson, who is our workforce coordinator. He's done a great job with this event, and I know he's hopeful that a number of individuals within our community will be hired this afternoon. So,
Do you have any idea on the numbers? What you expect to know for people coming in?
it's hard to say. So we do it. There is a pre-registration option where individuals can pre-register and then actually sign up for specific interviews with companies. I think that number was in the like 30 to 40 range, and we're expecting probably 3 times that in terms of overall number of people. So I think there'll be a good turnout. And the interesting part is many of these companies hire right on the spot. So
That's awesome.
It could truly be a great opportunity to get a job today or get a new career today.
Were you able to get it out like to the high school for new graduates?
Yep.
Before
we have
school ended?
It went out as part of, so Eric Nelson's work is with all of our high schools, specifically the seniors that are graduating but have not decided to go on to some sort of further education. And so all of those individuals have been invited. Again, 45 companies, and they've spread it through their network. So I think there'll be quite a few people there today.
It's amazing. Really excited about that.
Oh, and I was asked this morning off radio of the actual facts from social media about the banks.
Absolutely.
And we took a tour last week. Do you want to just mention?
Yeah, wanted to first thank Julie Collier and her team. They took a group of us through the banks last week, and I won't speak for everyone, but I was completely floored at just the atmosphere that's there. The center of kind of the development is a common space with a pool and all kinds of other amenities, and there were people using that as we kind of toured the facility. So I think the main thing that seems to be discussed is how many people actually live there. I think that's the question that many people have. So there are 80 units that are rented as we speak today. And the leasing agent that was there with us was giving us some numbers about the number of people that are coming in daily to look at and submit applications, and that's about 10 or so a day. So the Flaherty and Collins statement to us was that this is one of the strongest leasing that they've seen in any of their facilities across the United States. So we're excited about that. Personally, know a number of younger individuals who are living there, and they couldn't be more excited. I know we have some city folks, that's people that work for the city, that are also living there, and excited to be able to see them enjoying that particular residential option as well. So does that answer your question?
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, and as well, LEAP has sent out in the past information, and it's nice to offer manufacturers transport as an option for their employees to get to work, especially with the cost of gas right now. And we continue to deliver individuals to their workplace, and we'll continue to try to find options as well. So if you can save driving, save money in fuel, that's a good thing. Andy Snyder, Fire.
On the hiring issue, the Merit Commission, we're expecting to have them certify the applicant hiring list tomorrow, so that'll set us up for the next 2 years. Also, just a little side note, COVID is still present. We are, as of this morning, keep our fingers crossed, back to full staff. We were down 4 people last week with COVID and some others by contact, so hopefully we are on the amend right there.
Chief Breton?
Today, probably residents noticed increase in traffic enforcement. Prior to the meeting, we were at 40 stops. They're planning on running this as most of the day as the call load allows. We're going to try to do this once a week throughout the summer. We've noticed our accidents are up. Oddly, Madison and Lincoln Way seems to be a bad one. So they're going to focus on different areas, so it's been well received. Captain Metcalf has put it out on social media, and very positive. Of course, a lot of the complaints are in the county, which we don't control, but we're getting we're keeping track of that information, going to hit those areas.
And as well, cruise night is nice, but we got individuals that can't control themselves,
Right.
follow the rules, so I think we need to, your thoughts?
Once again, I'm in communication with Mr. Cager. It's not his group. It's these individuals come in. We had 2 DUIs during that time. We had 1 accident that knocked out electric around, I believe that was around 8:30, 9 o'clock. We had to shut down Lincoln Way because of down wires. Once again, it's not his group. We're going to add officers next one, and those that don't follow the rules will pay the price, I guess, the simplest way to put it.
And the public needs to stay out of the way when your guys are trying to do their job to arrest or do whatever. They
Right.
were engaging into that process, which isn't acceptable.
Right. There was an arrest made on the accident, and the crowd started to approach the officers, and it could have got ugly very quick. But once again, those are the irresponsible ones. Majority of the people, just out there to enjoy it and have a good time, but there's always those few. And unfortunately, we're going to step it up on the next one and show that we're not going to take that. I know Mr. Cager has made that quite clear on his social media that it's not going to be accepted. In fact, he'll call me and say, please write as many tickets as you can.
Good. Jeff Batchelor, Streets, Code?
Last week, we started millings on Kingsbury, Andrew Avenue, and 16th Street. Today, they're supposed to go back and do the paving on Kingsbury and 16th Street. Andrew Avenue and 16th Street, and then Kingsbury after that if they have time. Next week, Monday, they're gonna start millings on Wright, Graceland, and Richard Street. And then we're out patching and street sweeping too. And then for code, we're right around 1,750 violations for the year.
And you're setting a standard for some other communities. I've sent you recent articles about other communities following your lead, so good, nice job.
So are we, I'm trying to think back to prior sort of numbers at this time, you're about
Yeah.
halfway through. Are the violations starting to go down, or is it about the same?
We're down a little bit.
Down a little bit,
Yeah,
okay.
I'd say about 10%.
Okay.
And really, a lot of the stuff that we're running into now, because of the way the spring was with all the rain, is just catching up with all that tall grass that they're not taking care of throughout the city. I mean, it's a nightmare. It's been really hard.
But I think what's been up are the calls from residents. Residents are really taking ownership in the community and saying, hey, this person here or that person there, please do something about this grass, this, whatever it is. So, I mean, residents are really buying into what your team is doing, and we appreciate that. Next, Nick Minnick, Engineering.
As
As Jeff mentioned, street paving is moving forward. A lot of curb ramps have gone in, so we're almost complete with the curb ramps, and then we'll keep on that schedule for paving. Thank you for everyone's patience with our office renovation, trying to create enough space for the people we have. We will hopefully open our normal office location on Monday. Everything should be wrapped up where we can have our engineering coordinator leave the kiosk and be back downstairs on Monday.
And can I throw out there, I think you mentioned quiet zone moving quickly forward?
Yeah, we had a really positive meeting regarding the Quiet Zone project, and it looks like it's something that we're going to be able to roll out very quickly with just a few improvements necessary at various crossings. So we're hoping that that'll be a this summer type announcement.
And can you just tell us what the quiet zone means for all of us that in 2 a.m. hear the horns? Can you tell us what that means?
Yeah, so we engaged Patrick Engineering, which is really a rail-focused engineering firm. They have a really great expertise in this area. And essentially what we've done is gone through the process to allow for trains to not blow their horns. Now, if they see somebody on the tracks, they're still going to blow their horns, but essentially from the east side of the city to the west or west to the east. But essentially we have from Vale Road all the way over to Garden Street to that, or Ziegler, that whole stretch, we will no longer hear trains on the Norfolk Southern line once we kind of do the minor improvements necessary to get there. Signage, striping, and then safety improvement at one location.
Yeah, because safety is the biggest issue. I mean,
Yeah.
that comes first. I know nobody likes hearing that.
So does, I'm sorry.
No, I'm done.
So
Thank you.
does, to be able to do that, does that require like full lane gates to come down?
Yeah. So each intersection, each at-grade rail crossing has been evaluated for safety. So our overall safety number has to kind of be at a certain level, and each intersection has to have certain basic safety measures. So and on the crossings where there aren't 2 gates, a lot of those crossings, at least one of them is going to have what they call would be basically a barrier in the middle, so you couldn't cross over.
Okay, that's what I was kind of wondering.
And then the other thing is signage and striping. So after reviewing all of the intersections, there's actually a lot less that we needed to be doing, and I think we didn't move this process forward as quickly as we would have liked to, and at the same time, a lot of the kind of preemption requirements that the railroad had, they came in and did. I know that other communities 2-3 years ago were having to pay for a lot of improvements that the railroad was going to have to do anyway, and they did those, and now we're at a place where we've got a much more cost-effective way to get the train whistles quiet and still have a safe community.
That does bring up a good point, though. Why would the railroad not be responsible for the improvements and paying to keep everybody safe as they're the,
They generously allow us to cross their right-of-way.
But Northwest Health is going to be
that was very
excited.
well said.
Northwest Health will be extremely excited about the opportunity here of a quiet zone.
Oh, I'm sure.
And they've financially supported this effort. Quality of care is very important to them, and not having train whistles right next to their bed towers is ideal. So they've been a great partner through this, and we're excited to roll it out.
Great job by Nick and his team, because this is important. Jerry Jackson, wastewater.
We had the Northern Indiana Operators Association meet at the treatment plant last week. That's a monthly meeting. There's a lecture and a tour typically, and it goes from plant to plant. We had representatives from Michigan City, Gary, Chesterton, several others, and it's a nice chance to get your continuing education credits and learn something from your fellow operators. It was nice to have them over. I'll have a basement backup grant application here at the next meeting. Was going to suggest that we increase the amount of the grant. $1,500 doesn't go very far anymore toward putting in a sump pump. Was thinking 3,000 might be the right number. I'll have a new quote with that grant, and we can kind of use it as a gauge, and I'll forward it to the board members when we have some discussion before that happens. We'll also have proposals for engineering for the treatment plant headworks project, the screening and grit improvements. That's probably not for a couple meetings. We'll have those, and by the time we get those and review them and have a recommendation. Then the last thing, Nicole Messakar is the MS4 coordinator now for the county. We've pulled out of the county's membership as far as a member of the county-wide MS4, but are still considering using educational services from the county. Or from the soil water. They're in the schools. They're in a good position to do education. So right now we're just talking about what those services would cost and how they would be delivered and get a list of them. So as that proceeds, and if it proceeds, we'll have a memo of understanding for the board to review and consider.
Tim Werner, wastewater.
Thank you. Just to reiterate the paving list, so water department crews are pretty much caught up on any structures that need to be replaced before the paving continues, except for 3rd Street. We have quite a bit of work to do on 3rd Street, a lot of broken valves, a couple hydrants that need replaced that aren't valved. Crews started one of those projects this morning, so we'll be spending a lot of time and effort on 3rd Street just to get that, the valves and everything in shape before they come through and pave. Some of the other things going on in the water department, we're doing our annual chlorine service. That's the feed system that feeds chlorine gas into the water system. We get that service and maintained once a year just to make sure the feed rates are all right, make sure everything's safe with it. Some of the other things we're doing, working on our water audit for getting info out and gathered for the state, and cross-training a lab person. Jordan King now will be having a baby here in August, so she's gonna leave us for a couple weeks while she goes through that process. So it's a good opportunity for the rest of the staff to be cross-trained in the lab, so we're taking advantage of that at this time. And reiterate what Chief Snyder was saying, COVID has showed its ugly face in the water department. We have 2 employees out right now with COVID. They're doing fine. Just have to get through it and just remind everybody that it's still there and just to be vigilant about it. Thank you.
I'd also like to thank Jerry, Tim, Andrea Smith. We had a meeting and we talked about how we can consolidate services. Also upgrading equipment that'll allow our efficiency to improve. So I'm excited about some of the things that those 2 have worked on as their departments together, and I'm excited. There's some good things that'll happen that will improve efficiencies, improve cleanup of leaves and thoughts and all types of things. So I'm excited about what they're working on. Any questions from board members? Otherwise, department heads that do not have business before the board, go enjoy your fantastic day. And with that, we will move request for use farmers market. And I think Mr. Benversi. Yes, your name is the person in charge here, so.
That usually handles these things for us, but since I'm here, I'd be more than happy to. We're requesting use of, basically the closure of Monroe Street from Lincoln Way north to State Street on Saturdays from actually post Memorial Day weekend, Saturday, May 28th through Saturday, October 22nd, from the hours of 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. Or
6:30 to 1:30.
1:30?
I'm sorry.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion?
Seems like everybody's in the groove of understanding that's going to be closed down for those events, right? So
Yeah, and we also feel like it helps our downtown businesses a bit by opening up those parking lots. And then if we grow and get larger, we'll come back and move into the parking lot as well.
And I think the vendors that I spoke to, seem to really like being in the
It's been
street
fairly
there.
well received by both vendors and the public, so we're very happy with the progress so far.
Julie West Schroeder all right with this?
Oh, yes, she's a very adamant fan of it so far.
I do have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 3-0. Thank you, Brett. Thank you. Andrea Smith.
Good morning again, Board. My first thing is the First Amendment to the Employee Health and Wellness Service Agreement. I have Jennifer Colvin here of Northwest Health. She's going to discuss some of the minor changes made to this agreement, and Attorney Otis already looked it over as well.
Good morning.
Morning. As Andrea mentioned, I'd like to discuss just a few minor changes to the agreement between Porte, which is the city's employee health and wellness clinic, within the contract. The first being under notices 11.2, we'd like to replace the client Jennifer Knoll with Andrea Smith. So that would be under notices. The next one, on the Exhibit A, we'd like to add our Michigan City location address. We opened that clinic in December of 2021, and that clinic is available to LaPorte members as well. So whichever is most convenient for them, or whichever hours work out for them. We would like to add that location. Under the first bullet point in Exhibit A, we'd like to we currently have in there that the clinic is open a minimum of 40 hours per week. We would like to add excluding weeks where there is a nationally recognized holiday falls. In that same sentence where it goes on to state that the clinic has a minimum of 1 full-time medical assistant and a minimum one full-time advanced care provider. We would like to change "and" to "and/or." The last change we have is the second bullet point where it states online appointment scheduler and electronic medical record. We'd like to replace the online appointment scheduler with patient portal. Let's see, I believe. One last change under variable costs. The first bullet point, consumable supplies and non-medical materials. That is a cost that had been billed to our clients previously. We would like to remove that. That is something we no longer bill out to our clients.
We like that.
Yeah.
Could you, I apologize,
Sure.
just to make sure the clarity, I think it's on, with the "and," going from "and" going to an "or," so you're saying on a holiday, or?
Okay, so two separate things there. We will be open a minimum of 40 hours per week, excluding weeks where a nationally recognized holiday falls.
Okay,
The second piece of that is that when the clinic is open, typically we have a medical assistant and a provider. However, there are times when our providers take time off. And so during those times, we have our other provider split between the two offices. And so we will be open. It might be for nurse-type visits, and then the other half of the day would be for the provider. So it would be "and/or." There wouldn't necessarily always be both a medical assistant
Okay.
and a provider in the clinic for the full 40 hours.
okay. Further questions?
So just the wording of that is a little bit confusing, the way that's set up there. So that, the "and/or," because initially when I read through that, I thought the "and/or" was just on the weeks where there is a national holiday that lands in that week. But you're saying that is, each week, it's "and/or."
It's always in place.
Always an "and/or."
Correct.
Okay.
It is, I agree with Mr. Kosher. It is, because it's included all within the same thing, it is a little bit confusing. It should be a separate line item maybe, or,
Okay.
right, Mr. Otis?
Correct.
But there is still availability of a provider at some point.
There is.
So in that situation, just because there's a pretty big difference between a medical assistant, right, what they can do versus an advanced care provider, right, like a nurse practitioner or
Yes.
or PA. So is that with the different sites, and I totally get it, right, because people need time off. Will one person then be just kind of on those days where the staff's not available, that advanced care provider is not available? Will the staff then just kind of split between the two so that there's some coverage that day, or will it be?
No, there will always be coverage. There will always be a medical assistant there. There may be, in an 8-hour day, there may be 4 hours where there is only advanced care provider. That being said, we also have our medical director of our occupational health clinic who also provides services. So if there is an emergency or a walk-in that he needs to see, he is there and can provide that if needed.
Okay, I mean, because that's what I was thinking is like, well, if there's some issue that requires a higher level of service,
Yeah.
that someone is available to handle that.
Someone will be there.
Okay.
Is this just a staffing issue, like getting employees in, or you don't see a need for 2 people there all the time? Just out of curiosity. Because I know staffing is a huge issue with
Sure.
nurses in general and healthcare providers.
Sure. So it is not a staffing issue. Like I said, there will always be a medical assistant there at the clinic. The only times where there wouldn't be a nurse practitioner or a physician's assistant would be if somebody were on PTO. And in that situation, the nurse practitioner, we have 2 nurse practitioners, one in our Michigan City location, one in our LaPorte office. And that one that is there at the clinic would split their time between the 2 offices.
Okay.
If she happened to be in Michigan City, and as I was stating, there was an emergency or a walk-in that needed to be seen, we do have our medical director of the occupational health clinic, who's always at the LaPorte location, who could step in and provide that care.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Thank you.
Hello again. Andrea Smith, Human Resource Director. I'm going to present Jet Dental to the city. One of our most underutilized benefits is our dental benefit. And dental health actually goes in with serious medical conditions. If you have poor oral health, there's a good chance there is a serious medical condition associated with it. Jet Dental is a pop-up dental clinic, which we are going to try. We need a minimum of 25 employees to sign up. We think that's very easy, and it's really not employees, it's services. So if I go in and I want my teeth cleaned and a teeth whitening, that would count as 2. So it's really not employee, it's per service. This is going to be a quick video to see what Jet Dental looks like and feels like. And I'm hoping this is going to take off again because oral health goes hand in hand with our medical.
I love this, that you're bringing this here, so.
This is a video for Jet Dental. This is what it looks like. And this is what it feels like. So why Jet Dental? 80% of people that we see haven't been to the dentist in over 2 years, and 9 out of 10 people have cavities. That's just gross and super unhealthy. Did you know that the unhealthiest 5% of individuals account for over 50% of all healthcare costs? And over 320 million hours of work are lost each year in the U.S. from people visiting the dentist. This, however, doesn't include employees who pretend to see the dentist, but don't. Dental care is important, like really important. So why don't people go? It's because it's so inconvenient. We're changing that. Jet Dental brings a world-class dental team to your workplace using the benefits you already offer. It's on-site healthcare. Here's how it works. First, you pick a date. Then we create an email you send to your employees. And because it's the digital age, online booking is super easy. A few clicks and they're registered and have appointments set up. We even automatically add the appointment to their own calendar app. Next, we turn any space in your building into a pop-up dental clinic. Employees receive comprehensive exams with x-rays and teeth cleanings. We also do restorative work like fillings and even teeth whitening, all on site. Nothing out of pocket. We build the insurance company. It's that easy. We do all the work, you get all the credit. Jet Dental. We bring the dentist to your workplace.
we have this scheduled for August 23rd. They were that booked out. It will be at the Civic Auditorium. We will need Wi-Fi access, which they do have there. As soon as I get approval, we will send out the notice to employees and get this going. Let's hope it works out. Maybe other companies or agencies in the area will also look at Jet Dental because, again, oral health goes hand in hand with medical.
Will this be an annual thing, or?
We will see how this one goes. It would even be nice to do it twice a year, because a lot of the cleanings you get twice a year. And there is no cost to the city. Everything is billed directly to insurance. Dependents are invited, spouses are invited. And once we have our department head meeting, Mayor, I would really like the department heads to allow their employees to attend this and get their teeth cleaned.
Absolutely. I think we've got a good team that'll allow it, and I appreciate you bringing something unique
Trying to
here.
think out of the box, especially since dental is an underutilized benefit. So let's try to make this easy and, hopefully catch some medical conditions before they come worse.
Do I have a motion?
I love my dentist, but I don't ever leave that happy from a dentist.
Do I have a motion
I
to
don't either.
approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
Well, just, very timely, because I went to the dentist yesterday with my 11-year-old daughter, and as we're walking in, she asks me, why is dental care so important for people with cardiovascular, heart
Exactly.
conditions, I think she said. And, I'm not a healthcare provider, but I took a little bit of a stab at it, and then, they kind of answered some questions. But it is very important, right, because it is linked to so many other potential issues, because that, the oral
Absolutely.
area
Gums
is direct
bleeding.
access to
Yeah.
the bloodstream, right?
Yep,
So
absolutely.
it's a
It
big
is.
deal, and
It sure
it's
is.
unfortunate to see it's not so well utilized. But, we've got great dental providers. I love my dentist.
And actually,
but-
one of the providers will be from Northwest Indiana. They're not going to bring somebody in from that nobody knows. So this will be a regular dentist from Northwest Indiana. I do not know who it is yet.
And I love the fact that hopefully this will encourage folks who maybe just aren't making that appointment, or, because the hours are typically very limited. No, I shouldn't say very limited. If you're working all day, it's hard to get to the dentist, right, without taking
Right,
time off.
and they are going to be there
So-
from 8 to 5, so we have a full day.
Wow. Okay, I do have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Updated job description.
This one is, we've made a few changes. It was originally called city planner. It falls more in line with assistant planner right now. These changes were made in conjunction with Craig Phillips and Nick Minnick. This job description, again, is more in line with the duties of an assistant planner. We've added many things to it, including serving as the ADA coordinator, which we're moving from somebody who is transitioning out of the city and taking that important position and moving it into the assistant planner position. This will work more closely with Craig Phillips, get much more in-depth training in this position, and hopefully, make Nick's department much more better and easier to work and streamline. Do you have anything to say about it, Nick?
Yeah, I think we've kind of continually been trying to hone in on what the right role of this position is, especially with the great hire in Craig Phillips as our Director of Community Development and Planning. And the position actually started out as an administrative position originally and has changed over time. So I think we're finally honing in on that right job description for the role we need between engineering and community development and planning to keep projects moving forward and make sure that the city is efficient with resources and still planning to do great things.
And Craig and Nick are so busy right now that this will help them as well. Ease their load a little bit so they can work on projects they should be working on, not things they should not.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Thank you, Andrea.
Everything, board members, for all three.
Andy Snyder. Fire Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. I've submitted a quote or estimate to the board for consideration. The main part of the consideration for the Board of Public Works is actually the trade-in. This is in regard to a new mower for our Station 2 on East Shore Parkway. The cost of the mower itself it's a SCAG. Park Department has just purchased several pieces of equipment through them. We purchased one with the new station. The thing with the SCAG and K-Tool and Fire is that the actual unit price is a government negotiated price, so it does not change. But in this case, K-Tool and Fire was agreeable to give us a trade-in value on the old mower that's currently at the station of $500, which I believe is pretty generous for the condition of the unit that's out there. So I would ask the board's permission to allow us to dispose of that equipment and trade that in on the new one.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tim Warner.
Thank you. In front of the board, you should have a price quotation from Flow Point. What this unit is it's a self-sustained water fill-up station. I don't know how many of you are aware, but a lot of contractors buy bulk water from us for the Bourne projects, Reith Riley for Mill on the Road. A lot of those applications water is used in. And right now we currently let them fill out of a hydrant across the street. It creates some problems with water hammer. The guy's shutting down the hydrants too fast. This unit would be placed in that area, and then it'd have a 2-inch water fill up. So basically, the contractor would come in, they'd be issued either a PIN number or a card. They would enter that into the system. It records the water that they use. That way, the billing can be accurate. It also helps us with our water audit down the line, which the state has really come down on water department. So we're trying to tighten up some of that room for error there. Right now we go off of a honor system kinda, and I feel like we're missing some revenue there. This is something that was already on our capital projects list. The reason I'm bringing it to you at this point is the engineering company we use, the town of Highland is also looking for one of these units. So if we purchase this unit the same time Highland does, we see about a 15% cost savings there, which this day and age is tough to do. So we're going to try to take advantage of saving a little bit of money there. Highlands board did approve this purchase in their last Board of Works meeting last week. So I'm just coming to the board for permission to go ahead and purchase this and get it going. Our crews will install it. The only thing we'll have to farm out is the pad that it'll sit on. We'll hook on the piping, hook the storm water or the drain to the sewer and everything. So majority of this work will be done in-house. I think it's a good opportunity for the water department to jump on this savings and just go ahead and move it forward.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Go ahead. Nope, you go.
So basically with this, if this were to be in place, then, so contractors come, they fill up here, as opposed to potentially opening up a hydrant to then pull, which of course, they're opening the hydrant, right? And
Yes.
they're managing the appropriate timing and. Okay,
Yeah,
so-
we probably repair the hydrant across the street that we currently use for a fill station 3 to 4 times a year, just because of the abuse it takes, turning it the wrong way, not being as gentle with it as should be. So this is a good opportunity to get rid of those costs that the water department's occurring at this time
So
also.
then, but with this, is that protect from, it sounds like a contractor come in, hook up to get the water they need for the project. Is this sort of a simpler system that doesn't rely upon, technique and skill in opening and closing and just?
For sure. They hook their hose up, they put in their PIN code or enter their card and enter in how many gallons they want. It automatically reads it through a meter, shuts off at that time. There's actually an option on there too. If, they're said they wanted 500 gallons and their tank's a little low, they can push a button to finish that fill, and then it's recorded, billed automatically to a cloud system where Dana in the clerk's office and utility billing can see that information at all times. It kind of streamline our billing also. That's where we're having another issue is people signing up under a different company's name, so we're constantly trying to figure out who filled this up. It's become a hassle, and this is a way to rectify that. And
How do you keep this from being damaged?
it's a sealed unit, so it'd be like a building drop down. The only thing that will be out into the public would be the kiosk pad and then the fill nozzle that comes out. Plus, it's gonna be across the street from the water department, which we monitor with camera systems at this time already.
So vandalism,
Shouldn't be an issue, and if it is, we'll definitely have them on film.
and then the one they currently fill, will that go away? How do you keep the vendors from going back to the old?
So we'll pull that hydrant off of the end of that supply line. That supply line will be put into the new fill station, and then we'll use that hydrant somewhere else in the system.
Further discussion?
I think it sounds great. It sounds like it's gonna pay for itself pretty quickly. The 15% cost savings, is that calculated in the quote that we're seeing?
Yes.
Or, okay,
Yes,
so
it
that's
is.
already in there. And then I see that there's an annual subscription for the cloud service. What is that gonna cost going forward? Is that
Yeah,
minimal or not?
a $479, they told me a month, they quoted it right now. And then there's also gonna be a small $25 a month data connection fee just to be able to send that information into the cloud. It'll be a cellular radio that's at the fill station itself.
So about $6,000 a month-ish, or 6,000 a year?
No.
For the
about-
whole thing?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And so what is the revenue that we typically would either get or expect to get from this type of service for contractors?
From the bulk services, we last time I looked at it, we were about $5,000 to $8,000 a year off of bulk water. Like I said, I have a feeling that we're missing probably 25% of that right now. So I think those numbers will
that's
go
a
up as
lot.
It's it's hard to keep an eye on it.
Well, that's just the thing, because then it's gonna also eliminate the need to police it like you guys already are and give you time to do other things, so,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, and 25%, that's quite a bit.
And just to clarify, the annual service, that was for the year, not for a month. So
Yeah,
the-
500 a
is
month.
that-
Yeah, okay, I thought we.
6,000 a year, sorry.
No, a year, that's 500.
Oh, 500 a
Yeah, just for the
year.
cloud
Okay,
service.
I thought you said
The
a month.
$25 will be a monthly charge for the cellular connection.
Okay,
So
okay.
I'm doing the math and I'm like, I don't know if this is.
Yeah, no, that's for a year of cloud service. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, thank
So
you.
we put it
For
at about
clarifying.
$1,200 a year cost for the cellular and the cloud service.
Okay,
Okay. So
thanks for
even-
clarifying.
Even catching some of that sort of loss pays, okay, got it. Thank
And
you.
it's safer too, because then it's got automatic backflow and air gap protection in there, so no contaminants could make it back into the system. Right now, we depend on a double check backflow prevention system that gets abused also. So this will take all the worries of.
Take care of water hammer?
Yes, yeah, that's why we moved down to the 2-inch instead of a 4-inch. So yeah, it's gonna take a little more time for the contractors to fill up, but it's gonna be at a slower rate that protects the infrastructure of the water department in the city.
Maintains the integrity of the system.
Absolutely.
How long does it take to fill up usually?
So sometimes we get the 5,000 gallon tanker trucks in. They can fill up in 45 minutes through a 2.5-inch hose. So yeah, we're not sure what the flow rates are going to be out of the system yet, or out of the portable fill station, but it's definitely going to be a slower rate just to protect the system a little better.
So I do have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 3-0. Craig Phillips.
Good morning. So I have a request before you today for an agreement to take a look at a tune-up, if you will, of our zoning ordinance. From time to time, it's important for us to take a look at statutory changes, industry trends, things that we need to be aware of with regard to our zoning ordinances. And having discussed this with Nick previously, as well as others, including Nick, the other Nick, both Nicks, we felt that it was a good time to do this. And we have a proposal from GRW Incorporated. I have Deb Luzier here today from GRW that can answer questions if you'd like. The request is for $10,400 to be paid for out of legal services. And so I've reviewed this with Courtney, and she's verified that we have the funds available to provide for this service. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have, and like I said, I also have Deb here to talk about this as well, give you any background that would be helpful as well.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. And this could also include removing ordinances.
Correct.
Versus
Yeah,
adding.
Yeah, so, Mark, just for some context, since you've served on the school board, it'd be like Neola, the Neola policies that schools work with. So this organization's nationwide, correct? And it's unfair to expect the local attorneys to understand, not understand, but state law, federal law, code of federal regulations within federal law for housing. I mean, it's very complex. And so just like Neola does this nationwide for schools, you know, you're approving policies at almost every school board meeting. It's the same thing. They'll come back, I'm assuming, after looking at our, oh, you need to add this, or, you know, there's a lot of fair housing laws that we have to account for that change with regularity, and Americans with Disabilities Act changes. It's very complex.
Signage, that sort of thing as well.
Yep.
There's always case law with regard to signs.
Do you have any examples of other communities where, we had to remove this or add this because it was lacking?
Yeah, I've worked on probably more than 30 ordinances throughout the state of Indiana, which is where I focus on. And a lot of the big things are procedures for your subdivision approvals for communities, as well as sign standards. You can only regulate by size, placement, things like that. You can't regulate by content anymore. So if you have to read it to regulate it, your ordinances need to be updated. So those are a few of the key factors. Other things we find is rules and procedures for the operations of your plan commission and BZAs should be separate from your ordinances, because those are procedural things and not law kinds of things. So we identify that as part of our report.
Would there then be,
Ordinance was not updated. I'm sorry, Jerry.
would you then provide procedures for the plan commission, and, or is that?
That could lead to that. What I will do is provide a report or an audit showing here's where things can be improved, here's where things are out of date, need to be updated, and then that gives you all the opportunity to decide what's your priorities here for making these changes, and we can definitely help with that.
In our subdivision ordinances, as you may be aware, when we originally redid the zoning ordinance, we did not adopt the changes that the county put in place for subdivisions. So our subdivision code in particular is, I'm just going to say it, woefully inadequate. It doesn't do a lot of things that we need to be able to do going forward, especially with our focus on additional housing in the city. So I think it's very important to take a look at that. And there are a number of other areas where ordinances should be updated that will help us address as well.
Is the zoning map included in this project?
The map itself is not.
Okay.
When's the last time we had a review done? Do we know?
Our zoning ordinance was updated, major overhaul in 2011, and then again, there were some amendments made in 2017. But it's been a long time since there's been a wholesale review of the ordinances to make sure we are in compliance. The other thing is the ACLU loves to find reasons to go after zoning ordinances, and they've been pretty active lately. So we probably would like to avoid that rather than becoming a test case for that.
Yes.
What's best practice as far as how often these reviews should be done?
It really depends on the communities. I recommend every 5 years or so just to do a review. The General Assembly also is kind of my guide for things that are going on at the state level where they try to preempt with language there. Try to avoid that happening, but it does.
How long will this take you? What's the timeline?
Oh, I can't remember what I quoted you, but usually within 3 or 4 months, we'll have a written report to you.
Further questions? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 3-0. Thank you
Thank
both.
you.
Jerry Jackson, another digester quote.
There you go. I've got This is a project we've been working on now for a couple of years, replacing the mixing system for the primary digester number 1. We cleaned the digester, and we're now, the new mixing system is in place, and we need to complete it with the electrical work. The electrical work got a little more complicated when we got into this because the old electrical room was undersized. They actually put motor control center stand-ups, the switch gear in front of the door because they lacked room. So we don't want to follow in that mode. We've got another room we've repurposed that used to hold gas compressors for electrical. The quotes are for the switch gear, the actual switches and housings. I got a picture of it. That's motor starters, variable speed drives, all the things that go to run equipment. We solicited quotes from the 3 main manufacturers of motor control center: ABB, Square D, and Eaton. They gave us some options, so not everything. It was a little bit of looking at their options and figuring out which fits best. We recommend, I got help from Austin Electric. They're very good at this sort of thing. They're over in Chesterton. They recommended Eaton. It's $110,000, $110,465.37 with passive filters. You can get active filters. I should explain, filters keep junk signals from the variable speed drives from getting into the rest of your electrical system. So you need these filters to keep this from causing problems with controllers, PCs, all the sort of thing you have connected to your electrical system at a treatment plant. And passive filters will do the job. In fact, they're more reliable. They're maybe not as high a degree of control, but definitely sufficient. So the low bid with passive filters was Eaton, and that's $110,465.37. One comment is I need to make is it'll maybe a year before we receive these things. Equipment right now is just crazy.
Wow.
To get delivery.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion?
So, well, it's a couple things. I know in the letter that we expect, it could get up to much more, right, overall with the install, up to, potentially 250.
250 is what we quoted for the work, or what we budgeted for the work in our capital plan.
Okay. And that, so given that it could be a year, is there any issue? I mean, I guess from the an accounting perspective on approval now versus, would that money, I guess, be set aside then? It may not.
I'm assuming we're going to, well, and Ashley, you might be able to state this better than I do, but I'm assuming this is going into some kind of like construction in progress if we pay for it now, and so it'll just be an asset, and we'll pay for it now to make sure that it doesn't increase in amount.
And every year with Baker Tilly, we have our capital plan, 5-year plan, and projects don't always get done in the year you plan. Sometimes they're slow, sometimes they're fast, and you kind of shift everything and take pieces. This whole project started at $400,000 when we started with the cleaning and the installation, and now we're down to $250 left. That got shifted over, so we would.
That funding will be there.
The funding will be there, out of the capital budget.
And it's all within budget as well, I think you had said. Is that
We're going to be
correct?
close, but yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Further discussion?
Well, I'm curious, how did it drop from 400 to 250? Because you guys did so much stuff in-house?
Because
or-
we had that piece already done.
Oh, okay.
Yep. The cleaning and the installation.
250 is all is left.
Yes. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
We didn't save 150.
No,
so
I wish we
just-
did. I wish we did.
I got really excited for a second.
Yeah, I wish we did, but no.
All right.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion passes 3-0.
Thank you. I've got a waste hauler, septic and wastewater hauler discharge permit renewal from Free Flow Environmental. They're out of Valparaiso. They're in good standing with us, no issues. I'd recommend approval.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Nick Minnick?
I have the first pay application for our 2022 street paving. The pay application is in the amount of $129,370.50. This is, again, mostly for the concrete work at ramps and then some sidewalk work, and I would recommend approval.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. So this covers a lot of the sidewalks. You made a lot of progress.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of the front end work. They go in and do the ramps first. That way when they pave, it goes right up to the edge. So this is the first chunk of that. There'll be a little bit more, but then we'll get into the paving.
Further discussion?
What percentage of completion is this one?
I don't have a percent complete on this. I can double check, but I think we're at, I mean, this is less than 10% complete. It's about 8% complete.
Okay.
Or on the payment, on the work, it's a little bit
That's
over
been
that
done,
because of
right.
retainage.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
The
Schneider Electric.
Yeah, the next item I have is the change order for Schneider Electric. This is change order number 6. In evaluating the opportunities with HVAC upgrades, and then we have a roof project coming up later this summer, their engineers preemptively realized that we'd be cutting into the roof in another year to bring equipment into the building. So instead of doing that, I have a change order here for $31,900, and that would put in roof curbing that would allow us to do that and then use that area for future intake. So it's kind of a creative way to not have to, cut into the roof after it was just completed, and also kind of prepare for that HVAC upgrade. So it's I think the ideal way to do it, and hopefully saves us a little bit of time and money in the end.
Did you say roof curbing?
Roof curbing, yeah.
So to us on the 5th grade level,
Essentially, it's creating a penetration in the roof. We're putting a hole in the roof, but it's going to be okay.
It sounds like a convertible.
yeah.
Like a little bit of a
Press the
convertible
button
flap or something.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion?
Is this cost that we would have had to incur regardless because of the situation?
It would have been rolled into the larger HVAC program. The cost to actually get the equipment in there would have been probably in the mobilization and demobilization. So this will this save us money on that end of the project. And again, we would have to be cutting into a roof we just put on.
Just put on,
We'd
yeah.
rather have it done right at the installation of the roofing. So.
Thanks.
So I do have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
And the final item I have is, we did receive a quote for seating at the Civic. This still needs to go through both the park board and the city council. This will be approved by them. They'll have discussion, and we're not assuming any liability at this point. But with the current state of equipment and materials and everything, we're given the opportunity essentially to lock in our price and start the ordering process. We have, with no penalty, until August 26th of this year. So if the council decides, not to upgrade seating or to do it in a different way or whatever that is, we're at least moving forward with some seating options that we believe would be a great benefit to the Civic. So what I'm asking for today is essentially approval of the quote that will help us lock that price in, but it is at no risk up until August 26th.
And just to make sure, so 2 seats came in as samples. Then we said, hey, look at an upgrade. This is the upgraded version.
Yeah, and we started to look at the two seats and say, okay, this is kind of what we think we can get, and actually it was a little bit lower than we had originally estimated. And then we asked some more questions and found a seat that is actually going to have some padding, which is not what we were getting previously. Cup holders upgraded. I think the biggest thing is the comfort of the seat is one thing. I know there's concerns about the look of the Civic overall. The seats we're looking at would match in color to what's there, so hopefully that wouldn't be that much of a difference. But what's really important is the seating opens the opportunity for ADA upgrades so that we can actually have an ADA appropriate facility where people can get to their seats safely, railing and everything, and then the wider seats and whatnot. So I think it's kind of a good plan we have moving forward, and again, it's at little risk with not having a penalty until August 26th. The seating in this quote is actually the same seating at the Boston Middle School auditorium. So if you want to get a feel for that seating,
Literally.
Now they have a fabric.
Literally a feel.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. They have fabric, and what we're looking at is vinyl, so that it's easier to clean and a little bit better for the types of events the Civic has.
And this does not include the railing, so when you walk down, you grab in the middle?
This is the seating price. So I should mention, this is really important, that what we're looking at doing is using Sourcewell. So Sourcewell is an organization that essentially does all of the legwork up front to make sure that you can meet your state bidding requirements, and then we can then go to those companies directly and purchase the seats. So Lee Company is a Sourcewell company. We have a subscription to Sourcewell. So this allows us, instead of having to go out and get quotes or get bids, to work with companies directly, because they've already been vetted through Sourcewell.
Sourcewell is really interesting. It's like the quantity purchase agreement kind of in effect.
It's like the state's QPA,
Yeah.
exactly.
You can buy a vac truck off the Sourcewell, or a loader, or all that sort of thing.
How many seats are there currently? Because it says we're replacing, or we're going to have 1,160
Yeah.
seats. How many are we losing certain?
Brett's key in this discussion because he knows
Yeah, the inside.
how many.
We might be keeping a few of the old seats.
Currently, we have
Oh, you're fine.
1,382 seats in the balcony. I believe the quote's for 1,160,
Yep.
That's correct.
so we'd be losing roughly 10%, a little bit more. I think our magic
222.
number is we want to make sure we stay above 1,000.
And Abe Lincoln will be happy, because he was sore the last time he sat in these. That's how old these seats are, so.
And to reiterate what Nick said, I think the biggest thing, the most important thing besides for the increased comfort and raising the standard, I think, for our community and the people that attend the events, is the ability to add some ADA and safety with lit aisles, et cetera, handrails. So I think that's, as soon as we touch a seat, we have to come up to code, and we're not in code with the current requirements for aisle width, et cetera. So all those things will need to be resolved.
And think about the revenue generated for the first time. I mean, Brett's taken this on, and he is generating revenue, and you have to have a facility that people want to come to, enjoy sitting. So this will pay for itself,
Yeah,
just with the amount of action that you have happening there.
At times, I think maybe the mayor made a call to someone, because I did actually get a few emails from people commenting about the last concert they were at and the comfort of the seats and how they were hoping they were going to get replaced soon, so.
Well,
You're supposed to be on your feet if you're at a concert.
Absolutely.
And the non-reverting fund at the Civic is what helps continually improve, and these seats have cup holders, so that should help with concessions.
Absolutely, and our goal is always to close the gap and make the Civic as self-supporting as it can be. So the more amenities we have and the more comfort we can provide, the more attendance we have, the more revenue we generate, the less of a burden we are on the taxpayer.
And the cup holder is in front, up on the
I
same,
believe these are,
I believe they're going to be on the right-hand divider of the
of
seats.
your chair that
Yes.
you're sitting in, okay.
So there won't be cup dividers like in the aisles.
You okay with that, Lefty?
Yeah, I think.
If that's okay with the mayor.
I think that works. All right.
What's the longevity of these seats? Like,
I think the Civic, or I'm sorry, the Boston was maybe a decade ago, they said they installed these seats.
Yes, and they're in great shape, as Nick said. They are fabric, they're not vinyl, but from a cleaning standpoint, it just made sense for us. We will be able to get parts. That's one of the issues we have right now. Seating in the facilities from 1929. The width of the seats we have and most of them throughout the building aren't even made anymore. A lot of those chairs are 17-inch width, which isn't one that is produced any longer. So it's definitely a win-win situation for all of us.
I don't think we can guarantee 90 years out of them, but they'll serve their purpose. So.
not my problem in 90 years.
I do know, like at Michigan City High School, which is a very iconic basketball gym, they updated their seating, lost over 1,000 seats as a result of it. So our butts are getting bigger, right, Brett? So.
Yes, unfortunately, at least mine is. But like we said, 1,160 seats we think will definitely still keep us in the ballgame for everything we want to do.
Does, one of the things with, and certainly I'm one of those folks that appreciate a slightly larger seat, than 17 inches, but one of the things I always felt like was with the geometry of the way that's set up, of course, with the concrete, like, you can't change that really. I mean, you could, but that's a whole different animal. With these seats, is there any difference in geometry, sort of like the length, I mean, of when you sit down, like knees hitting, the chair in front of you, or does it?
Nick, I'm trying to remember. I don't think there was much of a change, but I believe some of the framework was a little different, so the seat's going to sit a little differently. But the rise from the concrete that's already there really there's not much they can do with that. I do believe there may be spots where they can reconfigure where maybe we're not losing as much. As we all know, there's certain sections in there that are only 2 seats wide or 3 seats wide. It's varying, especially on the west side of the balcony. That'll be interesting to see how they work that out. And then we also are hoping to be able to auction off some of the chairs.
That's what I was going to
We're gonna
ask.
repurpose some of the
That's
chairs
awesome.
and keep some of the history in the building. But there's ways I think to recoup and to still keep our past in sight with looking toward the future at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I was at the last event, not the last event, Thunderstruck, that I thought, well, gosh, I mean, they are iconic chairs. Auctioning them off
I
to
think
help
they're
raise some funds for
awesome.
the Civic would be fantastic. I mean, I would
Yeah,
buy some.
I would also.
And maybe
Have
even,
that written down for you, Mark.
let me know. Yeah.
Price just went up.
I was going to say, yeah.
In the Civic somewhere,
This is a
maybe,
tough
out on the outsides of the upper level, just
Absolutely.
whether people sit in them or not, I think just to maintain that look.
We have-
Anyway, so.
We have some great ideas for what we're going to do with that, so.
So what's the time frame then on these? When will these be installed after the quote is signed and after approval by the council and the park department?
Yeah, the goal is to, reduce the amount of revenue lost by the Civic. So seating, we're trying to keep this in line to have it, coincide with the HVAC upgrades, which would be next summer. So we want to try.
We're kind of looking at not shutting, hate to use that word, a temporary
Upgrade.
suspension of events at the Civic in the main level, looking probably July 1st through August 31st, 2023, as long as things proceed as we hope with council approval and park board approval.
But ESPN will be, and they come back and put us on the national stage again, it'll be with the old chairs.
Yes, January 5th through the 7th, NIBC, always looking for sponsorships, folks. But we are definitely going to have our old seats for that. And then, we're going to try to start out with a bang in 2023 in the fall once these go through. I'm looking to bring in something special for that very first concert. And then we'll follow that up with Hoosier Star and celebrate the new look of the Civic Auditorium.
It's
Do
exciting.
I have a motion to approve?
Did we do that?
Do we have a motion, Ashley?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 3-0. Thank you, Mr. Benversi. Reminder, the career fair today, 3 to 6. Don't miss, not any of you people, please, but the public, don't miss. And then the Veterans Brick dedication this Saturday at 2 o'clock. It's a fantastic event. It's a very brief event, but nice to honor our veterans at 2 o'clock at Soldiers Memorial Park there by the Park Department. Any other comments from board members?
The Y Triathlon is going on this Saturday, so there might be some road closures.
I think there will be, correct?
Yes, correct, around the lake.
And we wish Mr. Otis well.
I'm not competing this year.
Doing a bike leg on a team.
Oh, well, my money's on Jerry on the bike leg, so.
My bike's in getting fixed, so got my fingers crossed.
Hey, and that's great. We have a local bike shop, you know, where you can take your bike in for the summer and cross some Jimmy John's there. So with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Everybody have a fantastic day.